It's been a bit of a Mark II fest on the channel here recently, so today I thought I'd mix things up a bit. I have the 303 on the table. Now this device is legendary in its own right. It's associated with acts like MF Doom and Madlib, and in terms of lo-fi hip-hop, it really has got its own place in the history of it. So today what I wanted to do is a little test in terms of sound, and I want to try and see how close I can get the SP404 Mark II to sound like the sample grades on the SP303. So I'm going to use the lo-fi sample grade to sample in something, and then I'm going to try and emulate that on the SP404 Mark II. I know you're probably crying out wanting to listen to the comparisons with Vinyl Sim. I'll probably do that in a different video. Fitting everything in at the moment is getting more and more difficult because I'm trying to do the videos a bit shorter. So I'm just going to focus on this now, and what I will say is the lo-fi setting on this is probably just as legendary as the Vinyl Simulator. It gives it that poor man's SP1200 sound, so I want to demonstrate this, and another reason why I want to demonstrate it is because I use Crusher and this kind of sound on my samples a lot, so I wanted to see if it is actually worth getting the 303 out anymore. If we can emulate it close enough on the Mark II, then there isn't really any point for this particular effect. So I've gone ahead and put a sound into the SP303, and I've put the same sound in the Mark II. Both completely vanilla, obviously the only difference being that on the 303 I've used the lo-fi sample grade. So the first thing that I'm going to do is transfer that across to the Mark II, and I do appreciate that this might not be the most scientifically accurate test because I'm having to use my Mark II as my audio interface. So the sound from the 303 is going to end up going through the Mark II, but hopefully it's going to be an interesting enough comparison anyway. So I recorded that sound in and it was very, very quiet, so I'm going to transfer it. You guys probably won't be able to hear it that well, and I'll normalize it on the Mark II and we can go from there. Okay, there we go, and you can see here, if I choose the sample that I recorded straight onto my Mark II, you can see the waveform there. If I flick to the one that I just recorded from the SP303, there's hardly a signal. So let's go and normalize that straight away. And the Mark II does a great job of normalizing samples. So now we can have a listen to the direct comparison of a completely vanilla sound on the Mark II and a sound sampled in lo-fi on the SP303. Okay, that's the 404 Mark II, and this is the 303. So the 303 already does have that really pleasant SP1200 sound to it. It's got that ring on it, and the way I'm going to try and emulate that is with Crusher, basically. So I think people often go straight to the lo-fi button on the Mark II to try and get this kind of sound. We can have a look at that quickly, so let's have a look at this, and we'll try lo-fi, and let me just hit Remain and MFX. Okay, with that lo-fi setting, we're getting kind of close, but I can't get that warmth in it that the SP303 is giving us. So I'm going to go ahead and try with Crusher now. Now, I've got Crusher assigned to my filter drive pad here, so I can go ahead and just press that. And now we should have that assigned. Yeah, I can already hear that kicking in. And I'm going to hit Remain and press that button again so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So we need to brighten it up first of all. It sounds a bit too dull, this Mark II sound. I think in terms of the ring there, I've got pretty damn close, but the actual sound of it is still a little bit different. I think there's that warmth in it, which I don't think I'm probably not even going to be able to emulate with the Mark II because it's just the circuitry of the 303. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. One of you guys will know, so leave it in the comments below, which is the circuitry from the older SP devices. Just sounds so good, basically. It's basically impossible to emulate, I think, and that's what makes these older samplers really goated. But let's listen to this again. The ring is a slightly lower pitch. Now I'll see if we can mess around with the balance here, and maybe the filter. I think that's a step even closer to it making it sound the same. And I want to just resample this and try a bit of isolator to see if I can get it closer. So I'll resample the 404 Mark II sound. Okay, and let's try adding some isolator on this now. Okay, so I've taken off some of the lows, I've boosted the mids a little bit, and I've boosted the highs a lot to try and emulate that sound, and I think that's probably going to be as close as I can get it. So this is the Mark II sound, and this is the SP303 sound. There is a certain magic to that 303 which I just don't think is possible to emulate. So those of you that have got these in your cupboards and you're not using them because the Mark II is doing all the work for you, which I do agree the Mark II can do an awful lot of work, but when you get a sound like that from the SP303 just through using a sample grade, I definitely think it's worth having it in your workflow. So hopefully, like me, this persuades you a little bit that getting these older devices out, if you've still got them, it's definitely worthwhile. If you don't own these devices, I probably wouldn't say that they're worth purchasing just for these sounds, because as you could see there, I could get pretty damn close with the SP404 Mark II. But if you do already own it, 100% you've got to keep these in your workflow because the sound of them is just absolutely magical.